Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about cell structure. We're going to talk about a couple different cell types, and we're going to be primarily focusing on the one that we are, which are eukaryotic cells. So the first type are prokaryotes. These are going to be the very most simplest forms of life. These are the first cell types on Earth and the most simple. They're divided into two big groups, eubacteria and archaeobacteria. So prokaryotes do not have a nucleus. The DNA and genetic information is in the middle of the cell, an area known called the nucleolate. Okay, so I like to think of these as just kind of like a bag of leftovers. Okay, you got a Ziploc bag, and you had a couple different things. Didn't feel like breaking them up into different containers. You just want to make it simple. Put everything in there. So the DNA kind of swimming around in the middle like spaghetti. Then you have the middle of the cell, which is going to have the cytoplasm, and any of the other small little organelles or little organs that it needs to function. Outside, it's going to have the cell membrane, which is going to keep everything from getting into the cell, and then the stuff that's inside the cell from getting out. Okay? That's a couple things that you need to know about that group. Next one. This is the big focus that we're going to be on. Eukaryotic cells. These are more complex cells. All complex forms of life are eukaryotes. These life forms can be small single-cell organisms or very complex organisms like humans and elephants. Okay, two major groups are going to be plants and animals. We're going to discuss a little difference about those. So, as I said, parts of the eukaryotic cell. These are the more organized cells. So think of it as you had a big Thanksgiving dinner, and instead of putting everything in the bag that you want to take home with you, you decided to get different containers and package everything. You want to be more neat. More neat, more you can take home, more complex the leftovers are. So each region has its unique organelles which help the cell function. So again, eukaryotes are divided into two main sections, the nucleus and then basically everything else that's in the cytoplasm. Main parts, the cell membrane. This is the outside of the cell. I like to think of eukaryotes as peanut M&Ms, okay? The outside is the cell membrane or the thin candy shell. Keeps everything from outside getting in and keeps the chocolate from getting out. The middle part is going to be the cytoplasm, and that's kind of like the chocolate part of the M&M. Everything else that's not the outside or the peanut is in there. And then there's, so the cytoplasm is where many of the organelles or little organs are located, and this takes up most of the cell. Then finally, the nucleus. This is the brain or the control center of the cell. It is going to be in the middle, and it's going to protect the DNA. So, organelles. Eukaryotes have specialized parts known as organelles or tiny organs. These are specialized parts inside the cell that perform different functions, okay? There's a lot of different ones. We're going to focus on a couple of the main ones. Nucleus! Okay, this is the control center. It is the protective part that holds the DNA and everything that's needed for cell functions there. So it's going to contain chromosomes and the nucleolus. Okay, so the DNA is going to be kept in here, and then it's going to have a thing called the nuclear membrane, which is going to package it and keep it protected. Plants and animal cells. Animal cells are different sizes and shapes due to the function. Okay, depending on what that cell does, it's going to look different and be shaped different for a reason. Plant cells typically are rectangular or have a cube-like shape. Plant cells will have a hard cell wall, which helps keep their shape. So think of the cell membrane as kind of like your skin. It's kind of soft, it's flexible. If you're a plant, think of it as having an exoskeleton. So kind of like Iron Man, you're nice and stiff. If I'm stiff, I can stand up in the wind like a plant. I won't blow down. That is the cell wall doing its job. So, parts of the cytoplasm. There's going to be vacuoles, lysosomes, cytoskeleton, ribosome, endoplasmic reticulum, and a Golgi apparatus. Cytoplasm is a large organelle that is fluid. So I like to think of it as like everything that's in your rib cage, that is not an organ. It's basically the space between your skin and your bones and the inside, okay?